You have to understand a little bit about Chinese history. China was the most advanced country in the world for most of its history. It invented printing, it invented the compass, it invented gunpowder. It had the biggest cities, it had the largest population, it was completely advanced, it had irrigation, it had everything that you need to be considered civilized, and all the nations around it paid tribute to it. Then in the 19th century, China began what is called by Chinese its century of humiliation. It was carved up by foreign countries. They had pieces of it in the cities. They had something called extraterritoriality, where China's laws didn't apply to these foreign countries. And China lost peace after peace after peace, war after war after war with these foreign powers, with Japan, with Russia, with Britain. And it considered that humiliating. It had opium addiction. It lost its money. It lost tea. It lost everything. People were poor. So for about a century, China saw itself as humiliated. People called it the sick man of Asia. And so this is its chance to show the world that China has arrived. China is flourishing, it's beautiful, it's advanced, it's civilized, it's modern, it's the place to be. And it's been waiting a long time to be able to show the world this. I would not consider that there have been great changes in China's human rights record. They recently arrested attorneys who were representing Tibetan demonstrators. There are writers in jail, journalists keep getting put in jail. So it looks a lot as if their human rights record hasn't really changed. One of the things that we should always remember, though, is that China really resents outsiders meddling in its internal affairs. And we can certainly understand that. If Chinese came to the US and said, what about Guantanamo Bay? What about Abu Ghraib? We wouldn't necessarily welcome their interference either. So China doesn't really feel that outsiders, especially the US, have a right to tell them what to do. China has two audiences for the Olympics. One is the outside world, and one is the Chinese people themselves. And one of the things China is trying to convey is this is a government in control. This is a beautiful country. The people are healthy. The people are beautiful. The people are harmonious. It's a stable place. There's no unrest. And so there's a bit of scripting going on here that's not completely unfamiliar to us either. We have our political campaigns where they select who gets to be on camera. There is a bit of shaping of the activities, and yet for Americans we tend to think that the most important thing is freedom. That doesn't tend to be the Chinese people's greatest concern. They really want China to come off as looking wonderful. And so if that means some people are sacrificed, that's not necessarily for everybody too high a price to pay. Interaction with different people is generally positive, and although foreigners going to China will be very managed, most foreigners going to China don't speak Chinese, so they'll be completely at the mercy of handlers of one sort or another, translators, interpreters, bus drivers, taxi drivers, tour guides, and so forth. So the interaction isn't going to be heart-to-heart interaction where one person opens up about their experience to another. It's going to be a certain kind of very limited interaction. But I think that the more people know about each other, the better that is. People watching TV are going to get a glimpse of China, and if that makes them curious about people around the world, then I think that can only be for the good.